The Elder Scrolls has a villain problem. What's up guys, Thorn here, and it's been a while since I did an Elder Scrolls video, so let's fix that, shall we? Most main quest villains in the Elder Scrolls games honestly have quite piss-poor motivations. Most of them destroy simply because it is just their identity to destroy. That's not very interesting. In fact, that's kind of a boring motive. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's go down the list of the four main villains of the four 3D Elder Scrolls games: Dagoth, Mehrunes Dagon, Alduin, and Molag Bal. First, there was Dagoth. Honestly, he's literally just a god of death. I mean, he's the immortal High Chancellor. So, but let's be honest, he's a god. He's immortal because he's a god. Anyway, he's a god and he rules over a clan of vampires, bloodsuckers, people who just go out and kill people just because that's what they do. And Dagoth is the killiest of them all. He's just the guy who's just most associated with destruction for its own sake of that entire clan because he's the ruler thereof. Mehrunes Dagon fares very little better. He is literally just the Daedric Prince of Destruction. His entire identity is just death and destruction for its own sake. The guy has no real identity beyond that. Once again, it's just a villain who destroys because it's just what he does. Alduin is the firstborn of Akatosh. He isn't just the god, he isn't born of a god of death, but he is himself the World Eater. He flies around and destroys cities like Helgen, not because he has any real motivation, but just because he is the World Eater. It's just what he does. And then there's Molag Bal, the main villain of Elder Scrolls Online. He's just the Daedric Prince of enslavement and rape. And there is nothing even remotely three-dimensional about him. He does what he does because it's what he does. This is just the laziest writing you could possibly get, but it's made even more glaring when you realize that Bethesda has recycled this formula 4 games in a row. Honestly, the faction quest lines villains fare very little better. The vast majority of them are either those who want power for its own sake, those who are just crazy, or those who also just destroy just because it's what they do. In the College of Winterhold questline, the antagonist was Ancano, he wanted to seize power simply because he was a member of the Aldmeri Dominion, and the Aldmeri Dominion just want power. That's it. Then there was the Oblivion's Dark Brotherhood, one of the greatest faction questlines that Bethesda has ever produced. The main villain of that faction, his entire motivation is that he's driven mad. I mean, sure, the reason for his madness is sympathetic. He watched his parents, and especially his mother, murdered in front of him. Yeah, who wouldn't be driven mad by that? But at the same time, his entire motivation begins and ends with revenge, and he's insane. That's literally it. The Blackwood Company in Oblivion's Fighters Guild. Their motivation is that they're driven crazy by the Hist Sap. That's it. The Oblivion's Mages Guild, the Necromancers, their entire motivation is let's just kill people and use their dead bodies. The Mages Guild is a pretty boring faction, but their primary saving grace is that although their bureaucracy tends to render them hopelessly incompetent, that's still better than a literal death cult. Because you really just had to make the villains of that questline 10 kinds of one-dimensionally evil just to make the boring as fudge Mages Guild seem like the good guys by comparison. In Skyrim, in the Companions, the Silver Hand are basically just bandits with unique swords. That's literally all there is to it. They are werewolf hunters, but we never learn a damn thing about them. All we know is that they are bandits, and they will radiantly replace generic bandit camps when the Companions questline calls for it. Prior to getting these radiant quests from the Companions, those same locations would just contain bandits. And aside from a weapon change, there really is no difference. They literally are just bandits. So once in a blue moon, the faction quest lines will have slightly more complex villains than the main quest. But then again, isn't that kind of backwards? First of all, that's not much of a consolation. It's only a slight improvement even as is. But even barring that, shouldn't the main quest be where the bulk of the focus in the storytelling goes? And of course we know that Bethesda is indeed capable of writing these hella complex villains. They did it with Fallout 4. It was a great system. All 4 factions had their pros and cons. There was no clear one definitive best choice. Heck, even the Institute has a few defenders, people saying that they're the best hope for humanity. So yes, Bethesda, you've shown that you can write compelling and interesting villains. So please do that for the Elder Scrolls 6. So, with that being said, I am Acerthorn, and I will see you guys next time.